Hello guys! In this video I will show you how to use squash and rebase technique. This technique is very useful when you work on a project with other developers and your code is reviewed. The main idea is to squash commits and rebase the main or development branch into your branch before you push. Rebasing keeps commit history clean and helps to avoid certain conflicts. Not all of them though. Squashing helps when your code is peer reviewed. For example, if a reviewer sees an error in the first commit, she doesn't know yet that there is an error may be fixed in the consecutive commit. But when everything is squashed in one commit, reviewing is much easier. Here we're working on a README file with our coworker for our Next.js starter project. So imagine, your coworker is going to make changes, and then we're going to be making changes as well. Let's simulate our coworker changes first. So we'll do git checkout -b, and we'll call tsb 14, and we'll put it coworkers changes. So usually you use this tsb14 if you have a Jira project and you have a task. This helps to connect the Jira task to your branch, and then you can see whether this branch is merged or not. Alright, let's hit enter, and now we can do the changes that our coworker makes. Alright, so let's save it, and we'll do git add, git commit, and we can pull it to sham. Let's say we'll just call it coworkers changes. Alright, after running this, we can go ahead and push it and merge it behind the scenes. Now let's return into main branch. And we can create our branch. Let's call it tsb25 and call it our changes. Okay, let's imagine that before launch we work on the installation section, and we put it like this, and then we're gonna save it. We do git add, git commit, and just put m and put WIP, which work in progress, updating, we'll call it updating readme. Alright, so we committed that, went to have lunch, we came back from lunch, and now we're gonna work on another section. After lunch we created a development section. Here we go. So we'll save it. Now we're happy, we're ready to push. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna say git add, git commit -m add installation and development sections. We know there are two commits, so the good thing would be to squash them. So let's open our terminal and do clear. Now let's take a look at the Git log history. Git log --one line. We need to squash the two commits, one right here and one right here. In order to do so, we need to start from the commit that precedes them right here. So you can see it has the main branch here. So what we need to do, we need to copy this hash, quit out, and do git rebase -i and paste that hash right over here. Now we hit enter, and the editor opens right here. In my case, this editor is a Vim, but you can configure VS Code to open it in the Sublime. So let's update this file. So what we need to do is to go right here, and instead of the second peak or the peaks that are following the first line, we can just change it to squash. And then the peak that is on top, or the most toppest peak, we can say reward. Usually we would do rewarding because, right, the whip or our first commit would not really sound that well. So after that, we're going to save this file. I will do WQ, or you can just save it on the Sublime text, whichever you like, and hit enter. Okay, it runs the commit and it provides us an option to reward it. Let's reward it and let's call it add readme installation and development sections. Okay, again, let's save this file. Alright, this one asks you if you want to change some messages or something. So I usually keep them as is, so I'll just go ahead and quit out of this. Our commits are squashed, and we can verify it by doing git log -- one line. Alright, you can see that there's all those two commits got squashed in this, the topmost commit. While we're working on our changes, our coworkers branch got merged into the main branch, or it could be a development branch. It depends on the workflow that you decide to do. In my case, right here, it got merged into main branch. So let's go ahead and switch into main branch and pull it. Git checkout main, and then git pull origin main. We will do the next step in squash and rebase technique, which is called rebase. For that, we need to check out our branch that we were working in. We can do that by git checkout tsb25. Now we press tab, and it switches to the branch that we worked in. Now let's go ahead and do rebase. We will rebase main into our branch. So git rebase main. And as you can see, we got some conflicts. So before we can proceed, we need to resolve these conflicts. So we know that our coworker and us were working on the different sections of the same document. So here we can assume that we can accept both changes. Sometimes you'll have to choose which change to accept because there will be some previous changes or you're trying to override something. So let's click on accept both changes, and we need to save it. Don't forget to save. So now, after we accepted both changes, we need to add our file or stage our file. So we'll do git add, and we can just call readme md. After the file is added, now we can do git rebase continue and -- continue. Okay, the changes are merged and rebased, and we're in a good shape right now. Now we're ready to push. Git push origin, and we'll do tsb25 and our changes. After our changes get reviewed and our pull request gets merged, we can switch to the main branch. Check out main, and now we can do git pull origin main, and we can see our changes in the main branch. And now a bonus feature. After working for a while on a project, you may have a lot of branches that you want to bulk delete, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's make our command line bigger and clear the screen. So now we can do git branch. You can see we have a little bit of branches here. So what we want to do, we may want to get rid of certain branches, like for example TSB branch, right? So let's go ahead and delete the branches that have TSB prefix. To do that, we type git branch, then we're going to pipe it into grep, and we'll say TSB, and then we pipe it into git branch and delete. So, but before we need to give it arguments. So we're going to do xargs git branch, and then we'll do d. And a small d will delete branches that are merged, and if you change it to a large D like so, it will delete the branches even if it's not merged. So it's usually to do small d, and then if something doesn't get deleted, review it and then do capital D. And you can see our branches got deleted. This is how you do squash and rebase technique. If you work by yourself, this technique is not super useful, but if you work together with other developers, this is a good technique to use, and I'm sure your coworkers will appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next videos.